call to order the meeting of the Jefferson County Commission. I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Katie Huffaker.
Here.
Todd Chesterson.
Here.
Steve Douglas.
Here.
David Galt.
Here.
Randy Baxter.
Here.
Rita Music.
Here.
Donnie Tabor.
Here.
John McGraw. Russell Turner.
Here.
Tim Seals.
Here.
Sammy Solomon.
Here.
Robert Blevins. Gene Esslinger.
Here.
Randy Bales.
Here.
John Neal Scarlett.
Here.
Terry Dockery.
Here.
Robert Tucker.
Here.
Jimmy Carmichael.
Here.
David Seal.
Here.
Bob Beeler.
Here.
Barbara Sheets.
Here.
Robert Blevins.
All right, we have a quorum, and at this time, I'd like to ask Commissioner Tabor if he would lead us in prayer.
Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we want to thank you again to have this opportunity to come before you and make decisions based on the welfare of the people of Jefferson County, Father. As we do that, Father, we pray that we can do it with your ears and with your eyes and do it in such a way that would bring this commission honor, but even more importantly, Father, do it in such a way that will bring you honor. Dear Heavenly Father, I pray that you'll be with us as we make decisions and that you will help us. And I pray for the people of Jefferson County, Father. I pray for the people that's hurting. I pray for the people that's desperate, Lord Jesus. And I pray that you will be with them and your mercy and love will be greatly upon them, Father. In your holy name I pray. Amen.
Attention, salute, pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. With us tonight, we've got the leadership class from Jefferson County High School. Would all of you stand up just for a second? Leadership class. Thank you all for coming out. And next we'll have approval and corrections of the agenda. Commissioner Galt.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to add an item under new business regarding the nomination and election of the Board of Equalization members.
I'll second the motion.
Board of Equalization. Is there any discussion? Is there any opposition? We'll add that as item 4. Nomination Board of Equalization. And I made a mistake. When I put this agenda together, I had left the two rezoning resolutions up under public hearing, and I apologize for that. That should also be moved down to new business. So we'll have those as item 5 and item 6. You just mark those down. Are there any other corrections? Commissioner Turner?
It was under N3, new business. I printed it out. It had just a report by me for the commission secretary position.
Yes.
Has it been moved somewhere else?
No. N3 is Commissioner Russ Turner, Commission Secretary recommendation.
Okay. On this one, it's blank. But here's how it should read is, for the minutes, for the record, is just like any other committee would read. Personnel Committee, Chairman Russ Turner, issue Secretary position.
Noted. Anything else?
It's not on.
Great. You have before you 2 sets of minutes from the January 29th regular quarterly session and the special called session from February 12th. Commissioner Scarlett has a motion to approve. Commissioner Seal with the second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. Next, we have appearance of citizens. And I have a question. Paul Lear, are you here with Parrott's Chapel? Yes, sir. Okay. Okay, all of these citizen comments are from Parrott's Chapel. We have 21 of them. So that's going to be an hour and 3 minutes if there's no hitch between. And I would ask the permission of Parrott's Chapel if they want to designate maybe one speaker who could speak for 15 to 20 minutes, to cut that down by a third or by 2/3. But you all are citizens and you have the right to speak to us. But if you all would concede to that, and we could have one person maybe talk and maybe cover all the ideas in a succinct manner. Is that?
I'll give my time to Matt Bobbitt. I'm in that.
Okay. Okay. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Okay. I've miscounted. I'm sorry. Okay. So Matt, if you don't mind, and I'll set this, and if you'll try to make it as quick as you can, but I'm going to set this thing for 20 minutes.
Sounds good. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right. You all know who I am. I'm Matt Bobick. I'm here with the Parrott's Chapel community. And I'm just going to go ahead and jump right into it. There's a lot to be said, and I want to make sure they have time to get through all of it. Later this evening, you're all going to be asked to vote on the future of our community. And before that vote takes place, there are a few things that I want to share with you all about, why we keep showing up here and why we're not going to stop until we see some change. I'll endeavor to do it without putting any of you to sleep. Okay. I want to make a couple quick points first, though, before I get into that. First of all, we're not your enemies. We've said that before. I want to say it again. We're not here to be adversarial with you. We're your neighbors. Unfortunately, we're neighbors with a big wall in between us called Douglas Lake. If it weren't for the lake, we'd probably see you around the grocery store. We'd see you at the post office, and we'd get along fine, and we'd probably be friends. I also want to make sure that it's understood that we have great respect for the first responders from this county, as well as the teachers and administrators of Jefferson County Schools. Our concerns have nothing to do with the quality of their work or their dedication to the citizens of this county. They do the absolute best that they can with a difficult situation that's outside of their control. With that said, I do want to get into the issues that brought about our community's desire to move to Sevier County. First, let's talk about the roads. Simply put, they're dangerous. They are. This isn't about having a nice, smooth ride to and from our homes. I've included a few pictures. I left a packet for all of you to look through later if you would like, but I've included a few pictures of our county roads in your packets for some reference. They don't really do justice to the real-life situation of those roads. Some of you may say, well, you knew that when you moved in, and that might be true for some of us. But what do you say to the people that have lived there for 20 or 30 years? When is it their turn? The county only has enough money to pave about 30 miles of roads every year. And with 700 miles of roads in the county, best case scenario is our roads will be paved once every 23 years. We learned a few months ago that the cost of upgrading our roads would be upwards of about $1.5 million, and the odds of us making it to the top of the list of needs, given that type of figure, are pretty slim. So now let's talk about the kids. It seems that there's this belief that now that the county has gotten these bus rides to within the legal limit of 90 minutes, that everything's okay. An editorial was actually posted in one of the local newspapers stating that since the route was now within the legal limit and in alignment with the rest of the county, it stated, and I quote, "So let's take the students out of the equation. Number one, if that is in alignment with the rest of the county, fix the rest of the county, not just us. And number two, to whoever wrote the article, we will never take the kids out of the equation." And just a quick reference, that boy right there is 6 years old. Max, raise your hand. He's 6 years old. And it takes an hour and 25 minutes to get to Asheville, North Carolina from here. If there's anybody on this commission that thinks it's okay for that child to commute to Asheville and back every day, I don't even know what to say. Makes me a little bit angry, I apologize. News Center New Center Elementary and Middle School is literally within 15 minutes of many of our homes. And as you can see by a grid that I did include in your packet, it's closer by far than any Jefferson County school. Our kids pass it by and stay on the bus for an additional 40-plus minutes to get to Jefferson County schools. Little kids ride on the same bus as grown 18-year-old young men for nearly 3 hours a day, every day. Just think about the danger that poses to not only the child but to the county. The best case scenario is those kids are going to hear language and witness scenes that they should not be exposed to, and the worst case scenario I'd prefer not to discuss, and I think the county would probably prefer to avoid. In 2007, a study was done in the state of West Virginia focusing on the effects of excessively long bus rides on children. They focused on areas very similar to our own. They were rural areas that have experienced a significant amount of school consolidation over the years. The study focused on over 4,500 students, and the findings are kind of disturbing. Children that rode the bus to school over 60 minutes were 31% less likely to participate in extracurricular activities. So what does that mean for our kids? It means they won't get the chance to participate in things like football, track and field, cheerleading, band, after-school clubs, things like that, things that are so important to growing up as a child. And how is that fair to those kids? The same study of West Virginia schools found that children who rode the bus longer than 60 minutes were 15% less likely to have college aspirations. According to the National Center for Higher Education Management Systems, the average annual earnings for an individual with a high school diploma in the state of Tennessee are $30,000. Compare that to about $45,000 for an associate's degree and $55,000 for a bachelor's degree. These long bus rides contribute to burnout and a negative outlook on education that will literally impact these kids for the rest of their lives. Other various studies which you can find through, I couldn't print all the studies out, so there's a list with links for you in there. In your packet, show that children who have bus rides longer than an hour are more likely to have discipline issues and may suffer from performance issues in school. And many experts actually suggest that elementary school age children should not be on a bus for more than 30 minutes, yet ours are on for over an hour. The average commute time for an adult in Jefferson County, Tennessee is 26 minutes, yet we find it okay for a 6-year-old, 7-year-old, 12-year-old to be on a bus for triple that time. No child should be forced to be on a bus for over an hour when they could be on for just 15 minutes, and a move to Sevier County can fix that. A third major issue is emergency response, and these issues aren't new. They may be new for some of you, but this has been going on for decades. I'm going to ask you a question. Do you want to know a surefire way to convince people that you don't care about them? Cut their local fire department's budget only months after the most devastating wildfire this area has ever seen. You may not have been aware of it on the other side of the lake, but there were brush fires popping up on the hillsides all around us that day. We could see some of them from our windows. There was so much smoke in our house that we had to stuff towels under the bedroom doors to try to keep the smoke out throughout the night. And there was ash falling from the sky like snow all day long. We went to bed that night not knowing if we were going to wake up. That $20,000, which was a 36% cut in funding for our little fire department. Why? To punish the people of our area because a report came in late, or so the county could save 0.02% on its annual budget? How little do you have to care about a community to do something like that? And I'm not saying you don't care about our community. I want you to understand how it feels from our end. If we needed further confirmation in September that the commission wasn't taking our community seriously, the commission voted that it wasn't even worth the time and energy to gather relevant information on revenue and spending in our community so it could make an informed decision about our future. On top of that, the county's ambulance protocol places our area in additional danger. Once there are 3 ambulances in service anywhere in our county, the Chestnut Hill ambulance is automatically moved to Dandridge. This means our closest ambulance spends a significant portion of its time, roughly 40 minutes, from many of the neighborhoods in our community. One of our community members, Regina Gayhart, purchased a home on Ailey Church Road with the intention of retiring in our community in a few years. She was stung by a bee while visiting that home last year and had an anaphylactic reaction. She waited for over an hour for an ambulance to arrive. Just imagine for a minute the terror of waiting over an hour for help to arrive while you slowly suffocate thinking you're about to die. Imagine helplessly standing beside your husband, your wife, or your child for over an hour, watching them suffocate before your eyes. And thank God she survived. She lived, but whoever is next may not be so lucky. Now she's sitting on a property that she's afraid to even visit, let alone retire to, because she doesn't know if it's safe for her to be there. I know 2 people personally that lost parents to bee stings in my youth. It's not something to play around with. Anaphylaxis can be deadly in as little as 15 minutes, and if someone in our area has an anaphylactic reaction due to a bee sting, goes into cardiac arrest while our ambulance is in Dandridge, for many it will be a death sentence. A 2013 study of over 58,000 stroke patients by the UCLA School of Medicine determined that for every 15 minutes that go by, before receiving TPA treatment in a hospital, a victim is 3% less likely to ever live in their home again. For every 15 minutes that go by, our neighbors are 4% less likely to be able to walk at the time of discharge. For every 15 minutes that go by, our friends are 4% less likely to, or more likely to have brain hemorrhaging, and for every 15 minutes that go by, our mothers, fathers, sons, daughters are 4% more likely to die. It is a fact that people in our community have died while waiting over 45 minutes for an ambulance to arrive, and the long waits are not isolated, infrequent incidents. How long is the county going to play Russian roulette with our lives, hoping that the ambulance will happen to be in Chestnut Hill when the real life-threatening events take place? And if it were someone you love hemorrhaging, dying on the floor, how long would you want to wait for an ambulance? 10 minutes? 20 minutes? How about 45? Now that we're clear on how the current protocol disadvantages the people of our community, I don't think it's difficult to imagine the county being found guilty of negligence the next time somebody in our community loses the ambulance lottery we're currently playing. It's been suggested by some that the protocol in Jefferson County be changed so that the ambulance from White Pine will be the first to be relocated to Dandridge, leaving our ambulance in Chestnut Hill more frequently. Unfortunately, that doesn't solve the problem. It just transfers that problem to the people of White Pine. And just so you're aware, the Sevier County's New Center EMS station is closer to us than the Chestnut Hill EMS station. Some have argued that people in our area chose seclusion when we decided to move to Parrott's Chapel, and now we're upset because we got exactly what we wished for, and I am here to tell you that is not the truth. By road, our closest school is 9.4 miles away. Our kids just can't go there. Our closest fire department is 3.7 miles away, but in 2017 it was defunded, and our closest EMS station is 9.6 miles away, but it's in the wrong county. Others have argued that new families moving into the area should have done our research into the school situation beforehand, and that is fair. But I want you to consider this. We live in Sevierville. We have Sevier County Electric Service. Some have Sevier County Water Service. Most families in our area sent their kids to Sevier County schools prior to the counties closing their doors on each other. So humor me just for a minute and think of it from this perspective. If you were about to move into a town called Jefferson City in an area that you knew was surrounded by Jefferson County, your new home was serviced by Jefferson County Electric and Jefferson County Water, and all the neighbors told you before moving in that in years past they sent their kids to Jefferson County schools, would it occur to you for a second that you might actually be moving to Sevier County? I don't think so. Is it Jefferson County's fault that real estate listings list Sevier County schools for property in our area and that we didn't know our community was actually part of Jefferson County until it was too late? No, of course not. It's not Jefferson County's fault. But don't judge us for being foolish or irresponsible for a mistake that any of us can make. If it were just a few of us that had a problem with these issues, it would be easy to write it off as a few disgruntled people that are just looking for attention or just want to raise a fuss. It would be naive to believe that there are not some people in the community that would prefer to stay in Jefferson County, and indeed there are some. However, while collecting the 483 signatures you can find on the petition in your packet, I've encountered only 3 people that are not in favor of this move. When it's literally 99% of the population that feels mistreated, neglected, bullied, robbed, you as leaders have a responsibility to fix it. Just fix it. So how do you fix it? You can ask yourself, isn't there some way that we can fix this within Jefferson County? At some point we have to recognize the reality that it's unlikely Jefferson County can solve these problems. If it could, they would have been dealt with a long time ago. Did any of you know that Jefferson County citizens in the Fair Garden Circle area have paid upwards of $10,000 per household to be connected to Sevier County water because their wells are failing? If they were part of Sevier County, these families wouldn't have to pay anything more than their taxes. There's not enough money in the roads budget to fix the roads, there aren't enough kids to justify building schools out there, and you can't make Sevier County accept our students. You're not going to put ambulance and police substations out there because it's not cost effective to do so. Jefferson County can't fix these problems, but Sevier County can. And this isn't about Sevier County being better than Jefferson County. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with simple geography. Our community remaining in Jefferson County makes no logical sense. And the only people that somehow don't seem to recognize that are here, seem to be on the commission. Several of your own department heads have said that we would be better off in Sevier County. You know how I also know that Jefferson County can't fix this? You got 21 really smart people in this room. I'm facing all of them. And in the 9 months that we've been coming here, I haven't heard a single viable solution to these problems. I understand that you have responsibilities to people in your own districts and throughout the whole county and not just ours. That said, the remainder of the county will not suffer if we make this change, but the people of our community will continue to suffer if we don't. Some of you are focused on nothing more than lost tax revenue, and quite frankly, I find that embarrassing. Did you run for county commission to serve money or to serve people? A balance sheet can't be calculated with only dollars and cents. That's a conveniently simple way to approach this issue. What are the people of our neighborhood forced to give up by remaining in part of a county that can't serve them? Peace of mind, quality, time with their families, their future? How exactly do you put a dollar amount on those things? We're citizens that dutifully pay our taxes, but we are not a number on a balance sheet. We are people. This situation was set up for failure 75 years ago when they dropped a lake in the middle of the county. It's nobody's fault, nobody in this room. It's just something that is. And the problems are only going to get worse as our area continues to grow. These are not trivial issues that we're debating. This is literally about people's very lives and their futures. If you ignore the people and vote for tax revenue, which accounts for less than 1% of this county's annual budget and 4% of total tax revenue, I feel sorry. If you vote no just because you can't stand to give up territory to Sevier County, then I feel sorry. At the end of the day, you're going to have to cast a vote, and if you do vote no, you're going to have to look the people in this courtroom in the eye and tell them you choose money and land over them. Know that if you do vote no, we will not go away. We will continue to fight for equal and fair treatment. We will continue to fight for our neighbors, our kids, and our loved ones. We will use all ethical and legal means at our disposal to right these wrongs, and we will use the Freedom of Information Act to force the county to provide the data it refused to offer up freely last September. We will open the curtain on the mistreatment of our area, and I promise you it will not look favorably on the county. Look, I don't want to be here any more than you want me to be here. I'm a private guy. I don't have a Facebook account. You won't find me there. Some of you may have looked for me. I like to keep to myself. And 5 years ago, I probably would have. I would have ignored everything. But my wife instilled something in me. And she's a kind-hearted, loving, caring person. And she's sweet, and she'll stay to herself until she sees that somebody's being mistreated or bullied or treated unfairly. And then she will raise, I can't say it. Look, I don't know why you all got involved in county commission, but I would imagine that some of it had to do with, at some point in your life, you were frustrated by the way the people of your community were being treated, or you wanted to make a difference for people in people's lives in the area, and you decided to get involved. You have an opportunity today to make a huge difference for the people of our community, and they're relying on you to do what you know in your heart is right, and that's not necessarily easy. The late great President Ronald Reagan once said, "There are no easy answers, but there are simple answers. We must have the courage to do what we know is morally right." End quote. There's clearly only one morally right thing to do here, and we of the Parrots Chapel community hope that you have the courage to do it here today. I appreciate Mr. Chairman and the rest of you allowing me to stand up here for 17 and a half minutes. I know that's a long time. Thank you. God bless. You have 2 minutes and 20 seconds.
Thank you, Mr. Bobick. And that will be coming up under new business in just a little bit. I'm sorry?
You said we could speak if necessary. You said 17 minutes. I have some history I'd like to share with all of you. I'm Marvin Manning.
Did you speak over here just because I can't hear you?
Okay.
If you're going to allow me to speak, I'm sorry.
Are you going to allow me to speak?
3 minutes.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I am Marvin Manning, okay? I have some property that's inherited, okay, from my mother. I remember when she said, pardon my language, all of you, Hoover, hell, and hard times. She remembered and lived through those years, okay? The Great Depression, here comes Roosevelt. God bless America, but damn Tennessee and Jefferson County. What this gentleman alluded to, I lived through, okay? At that time, we were given a choice, okay? We could either get on the bus when I got through at Chestnut Hill, living down the holler down there, okay? The lake gutted this county, and that's what has happened since 1943. This gentleman said everything properly, okay? Not everything, but, you know, he said the proper things. I do not know economically what the situation is. I've been reading this in the Mountain Press. I get the impression they would welcome with open arms since they provide all these services, unless you're going to provide a jet boat to get over there to put out their fires or whatever, or ambulances. I mean, you know, that's the impression I get. I do not know any of the politics or politicians. I'm not running for office. It is a human concern. And I have followed this, and the services weren't there when I was a child. And when I went to high school, come to Maury, take the extra hour plus, and Mr. Luther Chastain, rest his soul, lived in Chestnut Hill. He would drive down, and those that did choose, but we had a choice. And yes, New Center is right there. And we would go by there on the way to Sevier County High. And so, I don't know whatever happened to that. I moved away from here, 35 years in Atlanta, came back, and you know, this is all of a sudden an issue. They do have an issue, gentlemen, that should really, you know, ought to be looked at very thoroughly. And since the Sevier County does, it looked to me like from this, correct me if I'm wrong, they would welcome them with open arms. I do not know the revenue loss to this county, if it's even feasible. I'm not here to give a sermon, but I'm here to present a side of it. As a child, I grew up in the same situation. Things have changed, times have changed, I understand. They're there, they didn't even know they were in the county, I heard him say. We know real estate agents. We know the sales of properties and things like that. And I may know some of these people, but, you know, they do have a very valid point as far as providing any services. And that was when I was a child, and I'm joining this decade of life, 70, and nothing has changed. I just do hope that whatever, something might change. But anyway, thank you for allowing me, and I won't pass a collection plate, okay?
Thank you, sir. Okay, next on the agenda is the approval of notaries and bonds. You have a handout in your packet.
Move to approve.
Got a motion from Ms. Music and a second from Commissioner Seals. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Next we have an election. The constable in the 8th district, our current constable is incarcerated, and there's been a power of attorney that wrote a letter of resignation for his position, and I'll turn the floor over to Commissioner Dockery.
I'd like to nominate Mr. Vince Gable, and I believe he's here tonight. If he'll raise his hand or identify himself.
Okay.
I'll second.
Got a second by Commissioner Seals. Is there any discussion?
Let the nomination cease, elect by acclamation.
Mr. Gable, you are the 8th district constable. Thank you. Next are reports from elected officials, department heads, and others. County Mayor Alan Palmieri, you have the floor.
Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen of the County Commission, I just have a few items. I apologize, Mr. Chairman, I didn't speak with you prior about this one announcement. Marsha Blackburn, who's running for U.S. Senate, will be here Saturday at 10 o'clock in the courthouse. Everyone is invited to attend. I don't think there's going to be a problem with her defeating her opponent to be the next senator, so you may want to have an opportunity to meet with her. I have several items that I would like to ask County Commission to take action on. One of them was the presentation by Attorney Richard Talley last Monday night about the opioid federal lawsuit. I'd like to ask the County Commission if they would like to proceed with that with Mr. Talley or not.
Do I hear a motion?
So moved. Second.
Motion by Solomon, second by Turner. All those in favor? Oh, is there any discussion? Commissioner Scarlett and Commissioner Huffaker.
I realize that this thing is probably a pot full of money, Mr. Mayor. But
Commissioner Scarlett, I can't hear you. And I can't see you.
I think Mr. Dockery's turned my microphone around. It's his fault. I cannot see where this thing is gonna, and there may be some benefit later on, but the drug companies will up the cost of the drugs, the administrators and the lawyers will take a big whack out of it. It'll be administrated by pro rata formula, and I've just not heard enough information to do it. And I do not want to get into anything that will come back on our professionals in the county as far as doctors and pharmacists, and without that guarantee, I cannot support it.
Commissioner Huffaker.
Yeah, I would just like to say, I don't feel that we have enough information on this lawsuit. Like, I don't know where it originated. I don't know the trickle-down effects, how it'll affect doctors, nurses, pharmacies that are innocent. I know Gordon Ball brought another case before us, and now we have the second case. And I would like to table these and let our county lawyers review them and provide us more information where I feel confident in whichever lawsuit we proceed with. The opioid addiction problem is a horrendous thing that has affected so many people's lives, and it has just been horrible. And I know a lot of us see the effects of it every day, and I just want to make sure my decision is thought out thoroughly and I have more information. So I'd like to table it.
So we've got a motion to table. There's a second?
I'll give a second on that.
Second on the motion to table. All those in favor of tabling this until later in the meeting, say aye.
No, I want to table it until our lawyers can look at it.
You want to move to postpone?
Okay, move to postpone.
Tabled indefinitely.
Okay. Maybe I should ask the parliamentarian the correct postpone. Well, until our county lawyers have a chance to look at the different lawsuits that have been brought before us to provide us information.
Tabling it will allow it to be brought up later in the meeting.
Okay, I don't want to.
Postpone will be brought up in another meeting.
Okay.
So you're gonna change it to postpone.
Then I want to change it to postpone if that's correct.
Okay, we have a motion to postpone. Is the second okay with that?
Yeah, that's what I was going to make that, yes.
Okay. A motion second. Any discussion? Oh. Commissioner Tabor?
Mayor,
Sir.
how's that going to affect the whole gambit?
The whole what?
Affect your plan? How's that going to affect your plans if we postpone?
I have no idea, really. I mean, Mr. Talley was here last week and answered all the questions, made the presentations, and when you're dealing with attorneys and you're dealing with the federal government, you know, you can open up the windows and let the pigeons fly. There's no telling what will actually happen. So I would hate to be in a position to answer a question like that when in reality, the best I can do is tell you I don't know.
Commissioner Bales?
Would it be out of the way to ask Tally and the county attorney to get together on that so that they can?
Sure. If y'all would like, I'd be happy to talk to our attorneys and have them deal with Mr. Talley and be able to come back to this body.
Get more information on it.
That'd be fine.
Probably a good thing, but the information is.
Right.
Okay, so there's a motion to postpone. Any other discussion? Seeing none,
Mr. Chairman, is that the opinion of the commission for me to go ahead and proceed, contact our attorneys and have them deal with Mr. Talley?
Let's see if this motion to postpone passes.
All right.
All those in favor of postponing this until our next meeting or until these attorneys can communicate, say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay.
Nay.
Yeah, let's do a hand vote. It sounds like the ayes have it, but all those in favor signify by raising your right hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Motion to postpone, yes. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. All those opposed? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can't see John Neal.
Nobody over here.
John Dale, what was your vote?
Postpone.
Okay.
Okay.
14 ayes,
14 to 6, the ayes have it. The motion's postponed. And at that time, I will ask you, Mr. Mayor, if you would have our county attorneys get in touch with Mr. Talley and try to have that resolved, I guess, by our next work session so they can bring answers to the questions that stand.
It'll be done.
You still have the floor.
Next item I have is Resolution 2018-7. That's our litter grant resolution. We've been successful for 12 solid years in obtaining the grant that helps offset and pay for some of the
We've got a motion to approve by Scarlett.
Yeah.
He trusts you. He likes the litter grant. We've got a second by Commissioner Seal. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it.
I rehearsed that for 45 minutes.
I know.
And you cut me out.
I know you did, and you look good doing it. You really do. I like your time.
All right, Lord. What
I'll close my eyes on this one until you finish talking.
Okay, yeah, you threw my timing off too. We got a couple other items. This has to do with CARE and the present Humane Society. This was discussed at the budget meeting last week and also county commission. And let me just say this, if I may, at the outset. I know that Mr. Bales has done an outstanding job with his board trying to get everybody on track to do the right thing for the county. There's no negativity that is thrown at any organization or any individual. It's just a matter of, I think everybody has a sense that we've got to do the right thing for the county and the situation that we are in. It was one rare example after 12 years of battle after battle here, how the Budget Committee led by Mr. Scarlett, the Animal Control Oversight Board led by Mr. Bales, County Commission led by Mr. Tucker, and the support from our office and the support of the sheriff. And when I say the sheriff, everybody knows that's like me complimenting Bob Beeler. We just don't do that very often. But everybody's working in harmony for the betterment of the county. So with that, in order for us to move forward, what I would like to do is ask County Commission to approve two separate motions. The first one being a motion to vote to ask the county attorney to immediately begin the process to serve the current Humane Society 30-day notice to vacate the present animal shelter that is owned by the county, and to also authorize the county attorney to negotiate terms if they can get them out sooner.
So moved.
Rita Music made a motion. Commissioner Seal got a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
No.
We have one opposed. The ayes have it.
Thank you. The next one I have, and I know there'll be a vote coming up on the budget later on, but you know, after 12 years to see the continuity, if y'all approve this and the sheriff just clear the way, I'm going through that door over there. I'm asking for a motion and a vote to adopt the new agreement between the Jefferson County and CARE to be signed by the mayor immediately upon notice by the county attorney that it's legal to do so. That document was drafted by our county attorney. It was approved by our county attorney. Mr. Bales has had the opportunity to look at it, who's chairman of the oversight board, and CARE has reviewed it. So everyone's in complete agreement on it.
Is there a motion? Commissioner Carmichael and Commissioner Bales with a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
No.
One opposed. The ayes have it.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
And I would like just take a second, if all of the members of CARE, I know that you all worked so incredibly diligently putting this together and coming to rescue or save our shelter, and I want to recognize you all for your hard work. If y'all would just stand for a second and be recognized, if you're a member of CARE. Thank you. Next, other elected officials. Mr. Sheriff. Sheriff Bud McCoy, you have the floor.
Just at least walk through it and come back.
Good evening. I brought you some good news tonight, and kind of want to explain to you a little bit how we get here. It's about the jail. There have been some innuendos out there and some lies being told and on the public spreading out about our facility. I want to report as of this week that I received a letter from the state of Tennessee, and I will read it to you. Sheriff Garland, Bud McCoy, Jefferson County. The Tennessee Correction Institute recently re-inspected the above-named facility, the Jefferson County Jail. The inspection revealed that this facility meets all applicable minimum standards. This status shall be reported to the Board of Control in the next meeting. After approval from the Board of Control, you receive your certificate. You are to be congratulated for attaining this degree of professionalism in your organization. And that was with the workhouse and the jail. We recertified. I'm proud to say that for 8 years in a row, we have had our jail certified. And I want to go on record as to commending my employees. And in 2016, we went through all year long for the change in the standards of the jail, of our operations. We had to go all year long to learn these new standards. They changed the standards and upped them a lot. Well, in 2017, we had to enact those standards. And our staff, as diligently, worked hard. It takes a lot of work to keep up with the standards that the state puts on you in a jail to house state prisoners. 2 or 4 surrounding counties are not certified. And we do this hard, it gets us $2 extra to be certified. They upped it this year to $39 a prisoner. So I am proud of my staff. They come through, and for 8 years in a row, we have been certified. Also, one other thing, I want to commend my administrative staff, because the auditors just finished our audit, and for 8 years in a row, we have had a clean audit, no findings, and I congratulate our staff as having good record keeping. So just want to report that to you tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sheriff. We got a question by Commissioner Dockery.
Yeah, I heard you understood, but I heard just a couple of the rumors you're talking about. One of them was that it was recent, or at some point it was decertified and you got it recertified. But just to make sure I understand, and I tell everybody that correctly, no point in the past 8 years has it been decertified.
At no point, Jefferson County Jail has been decertified, ever, in my term as a sheriff. We have always been certified.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you, Mr. Sheriff. Are there any other elected officials that would like to address the commission? Okay, next are the department heads. And first up will be the Finance Director, Langdon Potts.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have 4 resolutions. First one is 2018-8. The EMS department wants to surplus and donate a 2010 Chevrolet to the Jefferson City Police Department. You want me to explain them all and then?
We'll just take them one at a time.
Okay.
Mr. Scarlett, move to approve. Carmichael, second. All those in favor, the aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. Next.
Next one is 2018-9 Sanitation Department for both parts of the Sanitation Department, 5 vehicles and a piece of equipment to scrap.
Motion by Seals, second by Music. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. 1 abstention. Next.
Next one is 2018-8, the Dandridge Memorial Library to dispose of some office equipment and to donate, well, let's see, one's donate, one's not. No, this one is to just dispose of some office equipment.
Move to approve.
Motion by Scarlett, second by Turner. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it.
Okay, the next one's 2018-11. It's also Dandridge Library to dispose of some computer equipment and to donate it to the town of Dandridge. I'm sorry, the Visitor Center in Dandridge.
Is there a motion? Motion by Turner. Is there a second? Second by Scarlett. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Potts. Are there any other department heads that wish to speak to the commission? And I want to extend a thank you to all the department heads for getting their reports submitted to us electronically and allowing us to move things forward with transparency and getting those electronic packets online for all the citizens of Jefferson County to be able to review on the website. So thank you to the department heads. Next are reports from committees, boards, and commission. First up, Animal Control Oversight Committee, Commissioner Randy Bales.
Don't have much, but I think we've got a meeting coming up the Friday before the next work session. I'm not sure what the date is. I think it's supposed to be on there. I didn't see it on there.
Okay.
And it could be my fault, but I'd like to announce that time and make sure we advertise for that.
The Friday before the next work session?
Yes.
And the next work session is April the 9th, so you're talking about Friday, April 6th?
Sounds good. That's right.
And what time is that?
10 o'clock. And I don't know if I need to, but since we have a new person running the shelter, or a new group running the shelter, I need to have somebody from that be there too. So we'll have that made our list, or members, or both members, or whatever we need to do.
Okay, give me that time again.
10 o'clock.
10 a.m. Okay. Next is the Budget Committee Chairman, Commissioner John L. Scarlett. You have the floor.
Yes, sir. First off, General Fund 101, Amendment 9. It is on travel, health department, insurance recovery. Uses two items out of fund balance. So moved, Mr. Chairman. Need a roll call vote.
I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Katie Heffa.
Yes.
Todd Kesterson.
Yes.
Steve Douglas.
Yes.
David Galt. Yes. Randy Baxter.
Yes.
Rita Music.
Yes.
Donnie Tabor.
Yes.
Russell Turner.
Yes.
Tim Seals.
Yes.
Sammy Solomon.
Yes.
Robert Blevins.
Yes, sir.
Gene Esslinger.
Yes.
Randy Bales.
Yes.
John Neal Scarlett.
Yes.
Terry Dockery.
Yes.
Robert Tucker.
Yes.
Jimmy Carmichael. David Seal.
Yes.
Bob Beeler.
Yes.
Barbara Sheets.
Yes.
20-0. Commissioner Scarlett?
Drug Enforcement Fund 122, Amendment Number 1, moves $6,000 other contracted services to cover narcotic explosive training for the sheriff. So moved, Mr. Chairman. Need a roll call vote.
Any discussion? I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Katie Heffa.
Yes.
Todd Kesterson.
Yes.
Steve Douglas.
Yes.
David Galt. Randy Baxley.
Yes.
Rita Music.
Yes.
Donnie Tabor.
Yes.
Russell Turner.
Yes.
Tim Seals. Sammy Solomon.
Yes.
Robert Blevins.
Yes.
Gene Esslinger.
Yes.
Randy Bales.
Yes.
John Neal Scarlett.
Yes.
Terry Dockery.
Yes.
Robert Tucker.
Yes.
Jimmy Carmichael.
Yes.
David Seal.
Yes.
Bob Beeler.
Yes.
Barbara Sheets.
Yes.
Mr. Scarlett, floor is yours.
Highway Fund 131, Amendment 2. Moves from restricted for Highway Public Works Fund to the rentals to cover cost of some tanks and some other additional rentals they had. Let's be sure, better have a roll call vote, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, is there
So
any
moved.
discussion? I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Katie Heffaker.
Yes.
Todd Kesterson.
Yes.
Steve Douglas.
Yes.
David Galt. Randy Baxley. Rita Music.
Yes.
Donnie Tabor.
Yes.
Russell Turner.
Yes.
Tim Seals.
Yes.
Sammy Solomon.
Yes.
Robert Blevins.
Yes, sir.
Gene Esslinger.
Yes.
Randy Bales.
Yes.
John Neal Scarlett.
Yes.
Terry Dockery.
Yes.
Robert Tucker.
Yes.
Jimmy Carmichael.
Yes.
David Seal.
Yes.
Bob Beeler.
Yes.
Barbara Sheets.
Yes.
Mr. Scarlett?
Landfill Fund 207, Amendment 3, moves money around, pay for gasoline, and has a grant in it. So moved, Mr. Chairman. Does not require a roll call vote.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it.
Mr. Chairman, General Purpose Fund 141, Budget Amendment 12 for the Jefferson County Schools. Amends fund received into Medicaid reimbursement. So moved, Mr. Chairman. Does not require a roll call vote.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it.
General Purpose Fund 141, Budget Amendment Number 13. This is a additional funds in state original calculation for the BEP formula. Is that correct, Mr. Langen?
Yes, sir.
Does not require a roll call vote. Significant money moving around, but we did receive more. They are spending more than what they received. The rest will go into their fund balance should it not be allocated. Does
Spending
not
less?
require. Do what?
Spending less than they received?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
They received $350,000. They have earmarked approximately $169,000. Is that correct, Mr. Langen? In round numbers, does not require a roll call vote.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it.
General Purpose 141, Budget Amendment 14 for the schools. Covers costs of certified substitutes, Medicare reimbursement. So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Any discussion?
Does not require a roll call.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it.
Federal Purpose 142, Budget Amendment Number 7, extensive list on this thing. We're over $200,000 moving the thing, especially for Summer Ready to Read program. Does not require a roll call vote, Mr. Chairman.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it.
Federal Purpose Fund 142, Budget Amendment Number 8, moves around research and development, ESL, longevity for occupational therapy, and amend allocated fund for longevity instructional assistance. So moved, Mr. Chairman, does not require a roll call vote.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it.
Jefferson County Schools Educational Capital Projects Fund 177, Budget Amendment Number 2, moves money from other contracted services or to the White Pine Gym. So moved, Mr. Chairman, does not require a roll call vote. This is putting money that was already allocated in the right position. Is that right, Mr. Lang? Yes, sir. So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Is there any discussion? Oh, okay. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it.
And your last one, we passed a motion. You've already passed one part of the motion we passed, and the mayor was kind enough to go ahead and get it passed for us, get that started with the lawyer. That was one of the motions. The other one is for CARE to receive approximately $81,000. It will cover the cost of their startup. $35,000 coming from committed. Is that the way to say that, or how do we say that? Coming from the unassigned 35,000, and then approximately 46,000 coming from fund balance. Okay.
Unassigned is the other part. 35 comes from the nonprofits.
Okay. 35 from the nonprofits, 46 from unassigned fund balance. Total 81,000. So moved, Mr. Chairman. Requires a roll call vote.
Is there any discussion? Seeing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Katie Huffaker.
Yes.
Todd Kesterson.
Yes.
Steve Douglas.
Yes.
David Galt.
Yes.
Randy Baxley.
Yes.
Rita Music. Donnie Tabor.
Yes.
Russell Turner.
No.
Tim Seals.
Yes.
Sammy Solomon.
Yes.
Robert Blevins.
Yes, sir.
Gene Esslinger.
Yes.
Randy Bales.
Absolutely.
John Neal Scarlett.
Yes.
Terry Dockery.
Yes.
Robert Tucker.
Yes.
Jimmy Carmichael.
Yes.
David Seal.
Yes.
Bob Beeler.
Yes.
Barbara Sheets.
19-1. The ayes have it. Commissioner Scarlett.
One more thing, Mr. Chairman. Let me thank the mayor and CARE, Mr. Randy. They were very concise when they brought this. Also the sheriff. He's worked very diligent with this thing. All parties involved, and we on the Budget Committee sure do appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Scarlett. Next is Conservation Board Commissioner Robert Tucker. And again, I have nothing but fantastic news. This is the rough outline of the park we're going to be putting in. We're applying for the application now. We're in that application process with ETED. We did have one more hurdle we had to get across, but I think we've got that one licked too. And it looks like we're going to be putting in a $500,000 park with zero tax dollars. So we'll bring more to you as that application is completed. It's supposed to be submitted in mid-April, and I think the awards are given or announced in September. So we'll look forward to that. And that's all from Conservation Board. Next is the Finance Committee Chair. John McGraw's not here, so we'll go to the Vice Chair, Commissioner David Seal.
I don't have anything for finance, but I do have one for public service when that one's called.
Okay. The next one is Public Service, Commissioner David Seal.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Public Service Committee met on the noise issue pursuant to a motion by County Commission. We came up with a recommendation which will go to the County Attorney, which is to issue a amendment on the county resolution that regulates outdoor sound and outdoor events. We will impose a 10 p.m. curfew on amplified sound and a $50 citation for violations. That's to be sent to the county attorney for review. It will come back to the Public Service Committee for review after the county attorney deals with it, and then after that we hope to bring something to the County Commission. if any member of the Public Service Committee would like to add anything to that, I would be happy to hear that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Seal. Next is Quality Control Oversight Committee Chairman, Commissioner David Galt.
Nothing more than what was last week.
Thank you, Mr. Galt. Moving on to new business. First is Commissioner Tim Seal, the Bill Geiger, resident of Patriot Hills. I think he wanted it, I think Commissioner Turner wanted it under new business.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, this is the Patriot Hills subdivision wanting us, the county, to pay for the road study for a turn lane in. You all have heard the Mr. Gilger, and you just need to vote on it now. $2,000 is what they want us. The county planning commission heard it even though they wasn't supposed to. The Jefferson City was supposed to, and they refused to hear it. County sent it to us. We've never done this before, but there's always first for everything, so.
And the total cost is an estimated $2,000 to help Patriots, or
Turn lane going in Patriot Hills.
Patriot Hills. Patriot Hills. And being that it is $2,000, I guess that'll have to come from fund balance. So we'll do a roll call vote on that. Oh, we don't have to?
I assume you need a motion first.
have a motion first.
I thought you were moving and seconding. I understand. All right. Then let me ask this then. Do we have a motion?
I'll make that.
There's a motion by Turner. Is there a second? There's a second by Ms. Sheets. Okay, is there any discussion?
The roadway in Jefferson City's, all right.
It's a state road.
If there's a wreck there, though, Jefferson City Works is right there at the entrance, so it's Jefferson City.
It's in their region, sure.
Commissioner Scarlett?
I rise point of order, Mr. Chairman. It's going to take a 2/3 vote to suspend rules to do this, I think.
Because it's not been before Budget Committee?
Yes, sir.
Well, I would assume we had to vote on it for.
The other thing that I would question is what Mr. Blevins said. Jefferson City has so many feet back off that highway, and it was plainly explained by the gentleman who was here at the podium at our last meeting that it was whoever controls the road at the entrance. Is that correct, Mr. C? If that is correct, we don't control the road.
His thing was that the road going in there is a county road.
It's not. That's not a county road for so many feet.
I agree.
Jefferson City annexed down that strip back when there was a fight with Dandridge that first time or 100th time or whenever. And they, so many feet back off the center line of that highway is Jefferson City. Therefore, we do not control that road.
Actually, I agree with Jefferson City Planning Region should have heard it. They refused to hear it. So, yeah, I agree with it.
Just saying, look like you got two problems.
Yeah, definitely do. Okay, so where we are right now, you are right, because this hasn't been before Budget Committee, so it would take a 2/3 vote. And if you want to remove your motion, you're welcome to. If you want to leave it, then we'll vote.
Just vacate the motion.
Okay. Okay, motion's vacated. So this item dies for lack of a motion. Next, Commissioner Terry Dockery, Resolution 2018-04, reduce county boundaries.
Everyone has or should have a copy of Resolution 2018-04. I remember a couple of questions from our previous meeting from Commissioner Galt and Commissioner Seal. So I'd like to briefly address that. Then I'll offer a motion to approve, entertain any questions, and then after discussion, I have a closing statement I'd like to make, Chairman. The resolution itself, and this was Attorney Drennan wrote this. It basically outlines the procedure if we want this move to happen for the parish chapel of Sevier County. So it's not a one-vote move. If I can direct your attention, if a yes vote tonight would essentially, all it would do was go to Section 2. The Jefferson County Finance Director shall issue a request for proposal for surveying and plating of the territory to be removed from Jefferson County, Tennessee, and placed in Sevier County, Tennessee. Upon the selection of the necessary professional or professionals to survey and plat said territory, the Jefferson County Finance Director shall present the proposal to the board and request an appropriation for funding. So that's the first step in the process, and I know Commissioner Seal had asked in previous meetings about the cost, and this would be our best way to get the true cost. As far as overall approval, a favorable yes vote tonight just gets us to there. So if we do that, Mr. Potts comes to us with the information, he gives us the cost, and then we can debate on whether to fund it. We can talk about options about depending on how much it is. Perhaps we have discussions or negotiations with Sevier County about them bearing some or all the cost, or what the options are. But in any event, if it isn't funded to do this plot, the process stops. If that gets funded and the procedure proceeds on, then it's still not complete on our part. So I direct your attention to Section 4. After the aforementioned plat and survey are completed, said plat and survey shall be approved or denied by the board and transmitted to the legislative body of Sevier County for consideration. So that's basically 3 votes on our part to allow this to happen. Then it has to be approved by Sevier County. Then it has to be approved by the state of Tennessee. So with that said, I move to approve resolution 2018-04.
Make your motion again.
I move to approve resolution 2018-04.
Second.
2018-04, there's a second by Commissioner Seals. And is this a resolution that will require a 2/3 commission vote? Tennessee Code Annotated 5-2-104, under A, number 2, a resolution approved by 2/3 of the county commissioners of all counties affected by such boundaries line changes.
I'll defer to our attorney.
Sure.
Definitely you need 2/3 to reduce the boundaries. For sure, that's correct. But as far as this particular resolution, as I understood, the intent was to actually start the process to take the necessary action to do that, correct? I think you're not, the procedural question is, chicken or egg is, are you voting, do you need a 2/3 vote prior to the vote on, once you get the survey and things like that, or do you need a 2/3 vote now? Could you read that again? I'm sorry, Chairman.
It's TCA 5-2-104, surveys and plats. A says, applications for legislation changing county lines shall be accompanied by, 1, an accurate survey and plat showing the changes asked for and giving the courses and distance of county lines as it will be left after such change should be made, and 2, a resolution approved by 2/3 of the county commission of all counties affected by such boundary change.
My opinion would be, it would need to be 2/3 to, I mean, to me, it's the same thing. If you're voting, to me, you're voting to contract the boundaries of the county. I mean, unless there's, that's the way I read that resolution. Or was the resolution of the intent to simply take the action to actually, I mean, not reduce the boundary, but to actually take action to see if it was feasible.
Well, my intent was to do it, but
Okay, that's fine.
my contention with this question would be, since there's 3 votes involved.
That's true.
This first vote, to me, should just require a majority vote, because we're not allocating any money, and it alone does not specifically approve this complete process. It's just my opinion.
Okay, so you're voting, you would say that you're just asking the department heads and the officials to take the necessary action to actually get a survey, reduce the, okay.
Yes.
Then I think it would be a majority then. But if you're actually voting to contract the boundaries, it's clearly a 2/3 vote.
Well, we can't legally vote to contract the boundaries until we
That's
provide
I agree, that's why I
funding.
said, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. It would be a simple majority it would be a simple majority actually to start the process.
Okay, I agree with that.
I got you.
Okay.
Because you'd have to draw another resolution to actually contract the boundaries, adopt the survey.
And you might stay up there for a little bit. We may have some other issues. So we've got a motion and a second. Commissioner Beeler?
Why are we gonna do the first part, knowing and it's costing money, and when you're gonna have to have the 2/3 vote? We should vote on the 2/3 vote to see if it passes, and then do the other.
This first part doesn't cost any money. It just requests our finance director to go out for proposals to see what it costs to do the survey and the plat. We're not going, a yes vote tonight will not spend any money.
Who's gonna give the proposal without getting paid?
They're going to give a quote on what they would charge to do the survey and the plat. Then we know what it costs to do that.
We have to pay for that.
You do not. You're not required to, but you would vote whether or not to fund that. And you can make that decision after we get the information on the cost.
Any other discussion? Commissioner Seal and Commissioner Seal and Commissioner Baxley.
I have a question for the finance director. You don't even have to move. It's fine if you'll just stay right where you are. How much work is this going to take on your part? And are we going to have the questions answered as to what we're going to lose and what we're going to gain financially if we de-annex Parrott's Chapel?
I've never done an RFP for something like this. Posting an advertisement for an RFP is an hour's worth of work. But to come up with the specs of what we're asking them to do, we'd have to have a survey, and then we'd have to have a plat or whatever it's called to tell them what we want to survey. So the actual process of doing it is not that big a deal, but getting the information, I don't know if it's available.
Whatever we do, I want to know what this is going to cost. I mean, that's why the sponsor mentioned me when he brought this up, is because I have no idea what it's going to cost. And you can't make a good decision without knowing what it's going to cost. And, you know, the constituents I represent are not really happy about losing Parrott's Chapel, but I would like to have some answers to some of these questions. So does the motion and the resolution, Mr. Sponsor, do anything besides tell us what it costs and what's involved to do this?
It would be my opinion that a yes vote tonight, majority yes vote tonight, would simply get us the cost to do the survey and plat. And if we don't approve funding, nothing else happens, but at least we will know what that cost is.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Baxley?
But we still don't know whether Superior County will even take it. Do it?
I can't speak for them, but from what I've been told by some members on their board of commissioners, I believe, like the gentleman said earlier, I think they would gladly accept it.
You still have to go by this process to even ask them.
Yep.
So,
Commissioner Turner?
Months ago, I made a motion just for that very thing, sitting right here. There was no appetite, zero, almost zero appetite to determine cost. This was months ago, I mean, last year. So we're bringing up another subject. If it were just simply that, I'd be okay, but I don't in any way want to be tied to a consecutive set of actions that have to be taken because we have a yes majority vote tonight. If it were just simply what I made as a motion last year, I made that last year. And we sat here and argued for a good while about how much it would cost. And the mayor mentioned a bunch about the cost, and our finance director. We went on and on about the cost. We don't have an appetite for spending a lot of money trying to find out how much money we're going to have to spend. That's the ground truth. So if we were speaking in plain language and it were just a simple motion about doing that, I would be interested in knowing that, but I don't want to be tied to any consecutive set of decisions that have to be, or actions that have to be taken because of a majority vote tonight.
Commissioner Carmichael?
My question's for Mr. Doug Drennan. Doug, has this ever been done before?
I have no idea. You're talking about contracting county boundaries. I'm sure boundaries have been contracted. When I say I'm sure they have been in recent history, I don't know. I know clearly long ago boundary lines were contracted, expanded. There's no question about that. But in recent history, I don't know.
Well, my research told me that it actually had never been done in the state of Tennessee.
I don't know that this process. Well, what I'm saying is I'm fairly certain that the boundaries of. I'm certain the boundaries of the counties have changed. There's no question about that.
Small, minute changes is what it has explained.
But the question, I think, drastic changes, I don't know, not recent. I know for a fact that they have changed.
Well, I agree they have changed, but the way the state explained it to me was that it had never been changed on this kind of scale, that it would take state legislature getting involved.
No, there's no question that they have to, after the 2/3 resolutions would be passed by each county, that the legislature would have to take action. You're correct.
Commissioner Huffaker?
I don't think Susan Gass is in the crowd, but maybe somebody can answer this for me, because I would think it would take her the most time of maybe any county employee to figure this stuff out. And my question is, with lakefront property, my family owned the property they live at now before the lake was there. So we own down across the lake. Well, because it's been in our family all those years. But some people own to the edge of the lake, or they don't go all the way to the lake bottom. So when you do a survey, and in the instance where the person owns to the bottom of the lake, does the survey go to the bottom of the lake, or how do they take the survey to know where the lines are?
You would have to ask the property county attorney, Larry Churchwell. Sorry about that.
Any other discussion? Commissioner Galt?
Do you have any idea of the acreage? Do you know the acreage we're talking about?
I do not.
Any other discussion?
Can I speak again?
Sure.
I mean, I don't know enough to talk about it, really, but Jefferson County, I mean, yes, the land's up there. Sevier counties, they tell me that down on the lower end of Jefferson County, they're in the same situation. They have to go through Jefferson County to get their Sevier County, correct?
Absolutely.
Might ever consider a land swapping?
And then Commissioner Douglas?
I had talked about that same thing. I mean, I grew up on the Jefferson Sevier County line on Highway 139. If Sevier County has a fire, they have to go, it's probably not as far as we're talking Parish Chapel, but they have to go a mile inside Jefferson County to turn on, I can't remember the name of the road, to get back there. And, from where I live in Jefferson County, Northview Elementary School is a whole lot closer than Dandridge Elementary School, and probably closer than Piedmont. So, I mean, this is a two-sided problem, and I agree with what Mr. Baxley said. I'd said that, if I'm going to give property from to Sevier County, I want something in return. I mean, you know, we could get, you know, let's do a land swap on this side of the lake.
Any other discussion? And then Commissioner Docker, you wanted to close.
Yes, sir. And this will be relatively brief. According to Wikipedia, Douglas Dam opened February 19th, 1943, and was built in record time to meet the energy demands at the height of World War II. The creation of this dam impacted 28,420 acres. It also impacted the lives and the way of life for thousands of citizens in Jefferson County. For many of them, it was a sacrifice, and in many ways. They lost homes and thousands of acres of fertile farmland, but it can be considered a sacrifice for the greater good of the country and the world. There were negative impacts that happened then and that have evolved and compounded over the decades, though, that understandably would not have been considered or foreseen when trying to win a world war. The impact to the town of Danridge is an example of a negative impact by the construction of the dam and creation of Douglas Lake that was seen, considered, and addressed, because without the construction of the dike, Danridge would have been flooded. Where would we literally be right now if not for the dike? We wouldn't be in this room, and I think there's actually a mark, I think, out on the steps that shows where the water would be. So, you know, Danridge was saved. There's another area of the county that wasn't. One of the negative impacts that was not foreseen or considered was the isolation of the area we've been discussing, referred to as the Parrots Chapel community. Perhaps 75 years ago, being so isolated by the creation of the lake wasn't such an issue it is now, but today this isolation makes it expensive and difficult for Jefferson County to provide the same amount and level of services to this area as the rest of the county. Much more expensive, in my opinion, and difficult than it would be for neighboring Sevier County to provide, or serve is a better word, those residents. Over the past few years, well over $56 million have been spent on schools, but yet we operate 2 school buses to serve approximately 26 children in the Parrots Chapel community in order to stay below the state mandated limit of 1 hour and 30 minutes one way on a school bus. None of that money was spent anywhere near the Parrots Chapel area. In fact, none of it was spent south of the river, and the only thing that's been addressed in schools in recent, over the recent years is the closing of Chestnut Hill Elementary and Swansylvania School on the south side. So we've closed them down, but we've not built anything back. Ambulance response times are well above that of the county average, and the cost to address that is an additional $500,000 a year per our Director of EMS. Chestnut Hill Volunteer Fire Department medical first responders and EMS and ambulance were paged out to a location 1/2 mile from EMS Station 4 in Chestnut Hill on January 5th, 2018. Both services were paged at 5:26 p.m. Ambulance arrived at 5:52, 26 minutes later, to a location 1/2 mile from Station 4, so I can only assume an ambulance was in Danridge or at the high school in the center of the county. If that call had been, and you can check, if you don't have to trust me, that's a 911 records. You can get that information from Mr. Justin Crowley if you want to check with him. But if the call had been to a location in the Parrots Chapel community, the EMS response time would have been 46 to 41 minutes, or even longer, depending on the exact location. Average response time countywide, I remind you, is 8 minutes. 2 deputies instead of 1 are assigned to the law enforcement zone. That includes the Parrots Chapel community, and I appreciate, I'm sure they do, but it's because of the isolation. This commission did not create this negative impact, as it has been 75 years in the making. But this commission has the opportunity to address it, and I hope we do. 3 things I'd like to leave you with. Allowing the Parrots Chapel community to become part of Sevier County does not mean Jefferson County is giving away land, because Jefferson County doesn't own the land to start with. The Bobicks and a lot of people in this courtroom tonight own the land. Jefferson County has, however, the authority to tax these property owners. In return, Jefferson County has the responsibility to provide them with the same amount and level of services as the rest of the county. If every area of Jefferson County, number 2, if every area of Jefferson County receives the same amount and level of services for their tax dollars, then the loss of revenue from Parish Chapel should result in an equal decrease in expenses and therefore no increase in cost to everyone else. Number 3, if it costs more to serve an isolated area of the county, such as Parish Chapel, than it does the rest of the county, then the rest of the county would be better off by allowing Parish Chapel to become part of Sevier County. If Parish Chapel area would be better served by Sevier County, then it's a win for everyone. So I ask you to please vote for a win for everyone and do our part to allow Parish Chapel to become part of Sevier County. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Dockery. All those in favor of Commissioner Dockery's motion signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed?
No. Can I request a raise your
Certainly.
hand?
Yeah. All those in favor, signify by raising your right hand.
I just want to see how much it costs, is why I'm raising my hand.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
That's what we should do.
Raise your right hand up. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Opposed? The motion fails 7-13. In view of that motion failing, I'd like to ask the chair of the Budget Committee to please take up the allocation of $1 million in road funding over the next 3 years to bring Parrott's Chapel roads up. And after that one's addressed, I'd like to ask the Budget Committee to look at the fire department funding and begin to move through those so that they are receiving the same service. Yes.
Mr. Chairman, we've already addressed fire funding this year. You were there.
We talked about it, but we have not gone through on Budget Committee, and are we not going to do that on the nonprofits? Can that not be changed?
It can be changed, but I'm just telling you, it was your motion.
Right. And that motion can obviously, that's a starting point and it can be changed. But I'm asking you to take up, and if you will, just at request, I want you to take up allocation of $1 million over the next 3 years to bring those roads up to par.
That'll need to start with Mr. Tipton at the road department and a request from them before it comes to the Budget Committee. We can't force him to do anything.
Do you know who you know who represents you on the highway department? The commission, the highway commission, road commission?
I've talked to Mr. Tipton about this, and he was telling me it could be between $800,000 and $1.1 million. And I told him if there was not a successful motion tonight, that I would be sending that to Budget Committee. So I'm requesting that you take it up in Budget Committee.
And I'm trying to tell you, I'll be glad to do it upon the request of the road commission, but we can't do anything to allocate road funds until they ask us.
I'll have Mr. Tipton get that to you. Commissioner Music?
Would they not have room, maybe if Brad could look and see if they had room at their fire department for an ambulance service there?
We operate under mutual aid with Sevier County for fire, ambulance, EMS, all that. Yes, we do. So we can work that out.
Broad, complex issue, I will be glad to address to this full body. If you want to allow for about 30, 45 minutes for it to be addressed, we can address it at the appropriate time.
And I would like to do that. I would like, if Parrott's Chapel, they've obviously, they're taxpayers. The way I look at it is they're customers, right? And we're supposed to be providing this service, and they're paying us to provide service. So I think we definitely need to, if we're not going to allow them to get their service from somebody else, that we need to take up the provision of those services. So I'll get with Mr. Tipton at the road department and get that to Budget Committee. And let's see, Director Phillips, if you would plan on having something for us maybe at our next work session to address what possible scenarios are to bring them into,
Multifaceted issue, it affects the whole county as well as American Chapel. We'd like to address all those issues.
thank you. Commissioner Huffaker.
I'd like to know if we could address a contractual written agreement with Sevier County, because I know we have these mutual agreements now with the ambulance, where a call goes out, if someone's not nearby, it can go to Sevier County, but I don't know if they ever respond. But perhaps if we paid them something when they respond to the call, then they might be more likely to respond to the call. And on the other hand, maybe it would benefit them in other areas because we do cross
We'll do
over.
the same things in Strawberry
So-
Plains where they're talking about. It's the same. We'll work on it. We need to do that.
Instead of adding a new
As I
one.
said before, there's multiple ways to address the issue.
Commissioner Carmichael.
I'd like to make a motion.
Okay?
I'd like to make a motion that we send our mayor, Mr. Alan Palmieri, to meet with the county mayor of Sevier County, and come back with an official conversation of how Sevier County feels about the whole thing. I think that the two mayors need to meet, and that's what my motion is, that they need to meet and discuss Parish Chapel.
There's a motion on the floor. There's a second by Commissioner Seal. And Commissioner Seals.
We just voted that, y'all voted it down. What are they gonna meet for now?
To just have a discussion about remedy.
Obviously, this body don't.
Hey, I want to keep order, and we're just going to talk at the right times and all.
I'm done.
Okay. And so Commissioner Turner.
All right, so I don't disagree with that. Why don't we ask the mayor to go ahead and calculate the cost while he's at it? I mean, that's what I asked for last year, and the mayor's up there, I'll let him answer.
What was the question?
It wasn't it was a statement. Why don't we just go ahead and tag on to that motion? You could go ahead and determine how much that would cost.
If y'all, we've gone through this, and we're getting along well, and I don't want to disrupt it, but I can be stubborn sometimes. Your motions don't have any effect on the mayor's office. If y'all want me to go talk to Larry Waters and see how he feels, I'm more than happy to.
Well, that's what I would do. Commissioner Carmichael, would you just request the mayor to do that?
Respectfully request.
Respectfully, I'll accept that, and I will do that.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
You're
Commissioner
welcome.
Beeler, then Commissioner Huffaker, then Commissioner Dockery.
If we're gonna make a motion out of this, I'd like to make an amendment to the motion.
Okay. Commissioner Huffaker.
What I'm trying to say is, we need to ask him to check with Waters about the swapping of lands. That's the only thing we
That's
need.
official capacity, that's up to the mayor
If they,
to do that.
We honor all the requests, it's just when we get told what to do, we rebel.
Well, that's great. Okay, Commissioner Huffaker.
What I would like to see when you go, because I don't think we'll ever do the land swap, but if there can be a contractual agreement with the ambulance services, maybe a contractual agreement with the school system, and I don't know that they would agree to it, but I know they would get the BEP money, which is less than our county gets per student, but if we provided them a little money for a bus, the answer may be yes or no, I don't know, and then it would be up to us to fix the roads, and I think that would be a lot of the issues. But, if we never ask them about the schools, we never know. So, and at one time, those people in the area were able to go to the school over there. So I would appreciate it if you could try to ask them.
Mr. Chairman, I don't know about the school situation, but I do know on ambulances, law enforcement, fire departments, there's mutual aid agreements where they interact with one another, and they do assist cross boundary lines and do help one another when they're called upon.
And is Ms. Fincham in the audience? Is anybody here from the schools? maybe that would be a good request just to make to Ms. Fincham, like you've requested the mayor to talk to the mayor, request the director of schools, talk to the director of schools, and handle the school side. There was another hand up. There was one other hand up. It was Dockery and then Bales. Dockery?
I'm not saying anything different, Mayor. My comment is, if you feel it's a good thing to do, I would appreciate any discussion you want to have with Sevier County or would have on a land swap. And then as far as services go, a lot of the department heads, Mr. Phillips, they all report to you. And I know you made a comment in the previous meeting that you weren't in favor of this area becoming part of Sevier County, but you felt services need to be approved. So anything that you want to work with your department heads as far as EMS and sanitation, maybe a convenience center to help that service in that area, I'd appreciate it, and I'm sure they would too.
And then Commissioner Bales.
I would like to have maybe you as the chairman of the board and representative of the commission to go with the mayor.
I'm happy to go if he wants me to go. I'm happy to go.
Or at least to talk to.
I ain't taking no county commissioner.
I'm happy to stay. If you'll go and talk, I'm happy to stay. I just want to see that communication happen, because I think what we all really want to see is I think we all want to see Parrott's Chapel treated like every other part of the county, and all the services brought up like every other part of the county. Yeah. Commissioner Carmichael?
I just want to close and see, Mayor, I apologize for making a motion because that was out of place. But I didn't mean to start a rock crusher going. My point is, there has been no official conversation between Jefferson County and Sevier County that I know of. That was all I was asking, is to have a conversation.
Anything else, Mr.
We're
Mayor?
good.
We're good.
We're getting worse than that. Mr. Chairman, I will follow up on Mr. Bales. I will call Mayor Waters and see if he can have his chair of county commission. Of course,
You're taking a commissioner with you?
Well, it'll cost you, but I will take.
You gotta do it at night so they won't see you riding with them or what?
Okay, all right. So, Parrott's Chapel, I know you didn't get what you wanted, but hopefully you're going to get treated like everybody else now, and we're going to move forward. It's going to be a new day. Next is the, under new business, is the Personnel Committee Chairman, Commissioner Russell Turner.
Okay, Miss Lawrence has been really patient to hang out with us for the past couple hours. Couldn't come at a better time because we know how badly we've needed a secretary. And after proper advertising of the position and due diligence by the committee, Personnel Committee brings forward as a recommendation to fill the county legislative body secretary position with Mrs. Janice Lawrence. She comes with a background of filing, scheduling, organizing, coordinating, communicating jobs. These are the type of skills we need in the position. She also has a degree in applied science degree in office administration. So the recommendation of the committee is Ms. Lawrence. She's here, and ironically, she's sitting in the jury box.
Okay, so if the recommendation doesn't require a second, is there any discussion? Commissioner Carmichael.
I'd like to make a nomination from the floor.
Commissioner Carmichael wants to make a nomination for the
I would
floor?
like to nominate Ms. Peggy Mitchell, our previous secretary,
Okay.
to return to her previous position.
Okay.
My understanding is she's got her personal life kind of sorted out now, and she would like to return. And she didn't get an opportunity to participate in personnel committee.
Commissioner Seals.
Russell, did she apply?
I need to, as a point of order here, this was properly advertised. The amount of time was over 30 days. Ran 3 consecutive times in the newspaper. This position was well known by all that it was open. Not one time was the personnel committee contacted. Would we as a committee have considered her? Absolutely. Not one bit of interest. The personnel committee has spent hours Without a secretary, we've gone through cheetah flips to get this done, and we've found our best candidate. I think it would be completely out of order to do that without first having the person even here, let alone not submitting an application or any intent, letter of intent or anything to come forward or to come back or anything else. It's, I think it's completely out of order, and it does not even meet the requirements to hire for any position in this county, let alone for the secretary's position. So I think that motion should not be even entertained or accepted under those circumstances. Or any other motion to offer someone that did not submit an application to the committee.
If it were a nomination for the floor, I don't think it'd take a second, just nomination. Commissioner Solomon.
I like to say y'all picked a good person. I've known Miss Lawrence for a good while, and y'all done a good job, and I move nominations to cease.
Let's do that. I am going to entertain you know what? I may put all this on you, Commissioner Galt.
It's not addressed in our rules.
Not addressed in our rules. I'll put it on the attorney then. What about Robert's rules?
Yeah, Robert's rules, the nomination process is a work process. There's a number of ways to nominate. However, your practice has been to nominate candidates for anything. It's what you got to follow.
Right.
Period.
And ours for nomination of candidates has been nomination from the nominating committee and then any nomination from the floor.
If that's the process, Robert's rule doesn't make you pick a nomination process.
Certainly.
But whatever you all have followed in the past is what you're passing.
Which is my point and position here. We're hiring a full-time, this is the proper way through the personnel committee to hire a full-time that is under the purview of this body. This is the established rule. To go outside of that is setting some new precedent here, and it's highly out of order to do it in that way. And I can't disagree with that any more than I've just mentioned. The process has to be followed. If we were going to do that, then it should have been recommended to the personnel committee that someone be considered, or the person show up and apply. How do we hire somebody tonight that's not even here and didn't even apply, didn't even make a phone call, didn't write a letter?
Did you get with anybody else on personnel committee?
No.
You what?
Did Ms. Mitchell get with anybody else on personnel committee and make it known that she wanted to be considered?
She did. She called me and said that she had made a mistake, and I said that what would be the chances of her getting back? And I said, well, in my opinion, you would be a new hire because you quit, and you need to apply for the job. And she said to me, well, there was a county commissioner told me I didn't need to have to apply for the job because I already had the job. And I said, well, in my determination, I think that you do need to reapply because you will go in with no seniority or anything because you were not terminated, but you terminated yourself. And that's all to say.
Let's do this. Commissioner Highfager.
Maybe it's not under the nominating committee purview, but we do have a procedure on hiring people, don't we? So do you?
I don't know. The only thing, y'all passed a resolution, several resolutions addressing the position. Okay? I don't have that resolution in front of me. As far as, and I know who she answers to, which is the chairman, they as administrator. But my understanding is you all hire her, you hire the secretary of the commission. There's not any particular. That's my recollection of the resolution. You all passed a resolution saying we're gonna have our own secretary. Okay? She's gonna answer to the chairman day-to-day responsibility, and you all are gonna hire her. I
believe, I don't know what the resolution says.
So, okay, it's the only position we hire is a secretary from the
And
commission.
veteran service officer.
So we've
And the wheel
got to have a
tax, compliance
procedure on
officer.
hiring,
Compliance officer.
right?
But I want you to understand, you adopted, you don't pass a resolution specifically for that position. And it has who he or she answers to and everything else. I can't tell you, I have no clue what y'all want to ask about that particular resolution. I looked at
This is
it.
not a nominating committee meeting.
Commissioner Galt, then Commissioner Dockery.
Was the decision, personnel committee unanimous?
Yes.
Commissioner Dockery.
Yeah, I don't know the answer to this thing, but where is if some are contending that you can't nominate somebody from the floor that didn't go through the process, where's the rule that says you can't do that?
There is no.
Let me answer it in this way, Chairman.
Okay.
Then why do we have the personnel committee? And then why do we say that the personnel committee is charged with filling the position that's vacant for the veteran service officer, the wheel tax compliance officer, and the commission secretary? Why do we have the personnel committee, period? Because we have positions that we feel as a body, not under the mayor. The mayor would hire his own position if it's a position that's vacant.
So,
We have that responsibility.
okay, so this doesn't drag on forever. I'm going to let Commissioner Carmichael say what he's going to say, and then I'm going to make a rule on it, and we're going to move forward.
Here's the point of order right now. Any committee under county commission can bring anything to county commission. That doesn't mean the county commission has to do whatever the committee brought.
That's right. That's
A lot
right.
of times, normally we do. Not all the time, we nominate from the floor.
Right.
It's just like when the nominating committee brings nominations up at the first of every year in September, October, it's the same difference. Until 21 people come together and vote, you still haven't done anything.
So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take both, and we're going to first try roll call, or not roll call. We're first going to try a voice vote for the first candidate, the recommendation by the personnel committee. And then if that voice vote isn't obviously unanimous, then we can break it out into a individual roll call vote. So first,
I've got a point of order that I know that we're out of order to consider someone in this way that has not applied, that has not followed the application process, has not been background checked, has not been background checked.
she worked for us.
If you vote yes tonight, you're going ahead and hiring somebody tonight. Unless you want to change your vote and say, we'll hire her, unless she had a DUI last night. Do you know her record? She has not been cleared at the local county level or the state level. This is not just some fly-by-night meeting we had. We did a background check. This is the process.
Okay.
I'd like to ask the legal counsel how that
Hey.
weighs in here. Just a second. What about precedent that we've always hired this way?
I'm going to call you out of order, Mr. Turner.
The only question I would have is if the personnel committee recommends something to the whole body, they don't have to approve, right?
So yes or no?
Well, no, what I'm
Or
saying
to
is,
supplant the place of the personnel committee?
If it's a nomination procedure, we've always been able to accept nominations from the floor. If it's a nomination procedure, without looking at the resolution that you all adopted regarding the hiring of that particular position, I can't tell you whether or not it has to come from the personnel committee.
Mayor, you gonna breathe into this and all what's right?
Commissioner Music.
I would like to say, I love Peggy dearly, but she had time to apply. I'm on the personnel committee. She did not apply. That would be like a slap in the face if I applied for a job and you brought somebody in and hired them in front of me. This is me. If I apply for the job and you think I'm it, then I should be it.
Commissioner Sill.
Question.
Okay, so all those in favor of Janice Lawrence signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
No.
No.
The ayes have it. Ms. Lawrence, you're our next secretary. There,
Yeah, we do have something else to do.
yes. So
With this position.
next,
No, with this position. Ms. Lawrence is starting tomorrow. She starts tomorrow, she's ready, she's already given her notice with her previous job. She will immediately start the process. She wishes to come on in and be in the office tomorrow morning, so Chair, if you have the means or a way to get her in the office, she'd like to start the in-processing process with the help of the mayor or anybody the mayor could offer for the in-processing. Would be appreciated.
Mr. Chairman, it takes us, we would have to get in touch with Carolyn, have her set up an appointment, because that's a lengthy process. It probably takes them 3 hours when we bring in a new employee to get all signed up and go through payroll and everything else, the insurance benefits, policies of the county, the handbooks, all that is explained to everybody. So it's a lengthy process. So she would need, I can't say she could actually start tomorrow because I do not know what Carolyn's schedule is, but she'll need to call there, talk to Carolyn.
Commissioner Scarlett.
Mr. Chairman, is she gonna take health insurance?
Yes.
We don't have the money in the budget. Oops.
You're taking family? No, just single. She's not taking family.
It still doesn't matter. We don't have the money in that budget.
So we're gonna have to send.
Peggy's wasn't taking any either, right?
She wasn't taking any insurance. No single, no anything. We don't have the money in that budget.
Okay. Just have to make an amendment to the budget.
We'll have to send that to Budget Committee to address that.
That's what we do.
So is there a motion to refer that to Budget Committee? Do I hear a motion to refer that to Budget Committee? Motion by Seals, second. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Solomon. Will you take that up?
I mean, I'll be glad to do it. I'll put it on the agenda.
Okay.
I'm just saying, if you're gonna start tomorrow, it won't work. You don't
Even if
have
she started 2 weeks from now, we'd still need to approach this question.
Hey, listen, we're gonna have order in this meeting, okay? We're not gonna go back and forth, and you're gonna raise your hand like Commissioner Halfaker is, and we're gonna talk and be done with this. We're gonna keep moving forward. Commissioner Halfaker.
Okay, I don't know how like, I'm sure it's just a line on a budget dollar amount, but Peggy's been gone for a while, so there should be a little bit of padding from when we weren't paying anybody, right? And I don't know if that's enough to cover the medical or how long, but.
It's still gotta be moved, because it's not in the health insurance
Okay,
line.
it's gotta be in the health insurance.
Yeah, we don't have anything in that.
Commissioner Music.
I've got another question.
Okay.
I know sometimes when you take a job, you have to wait 30 days or so many days to get health insurance anyway. Do we get it immediately?
I don't know.
I think it's a 30-day, but I'll have to check.
Okay.
Commissioner Music.
Well, what's she supposed to do? She's done resolved from her job. Are you gonna have a budget meeting soon?
We've got one on the 26th. It's before we start the budget process.
Can you put it in there?
But will it have to come back before the full commission? All I'm saying, I mean, if you're gonna do it, you need to suspend the rule on this whole thing and work through this thing if that's what you're doing. All I'm saying is we don't have the money in that budget.
You're talking about May then before she could even start, right?
I'm talking about she couldn't have insurance, Ms. Rita. I mean, and there's a way to do it. It's just, I'm just saying, if she's taking insurance, you need to address that.
Commissioner Carmichael.
I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rule and hear this tonight.
And we've got a second by Commissioner Seal. All those in favor of suspending the rules, which would take 2/3, raise your right hand.
Go ahead and talk about.
To do the budget tonight, to change it so she's got health insurance. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Well, yeah, it's unanimous. Unanimous. Okay, the ayes have it. So the rules are suspended, and we'll go ahead and take that up. Commissioner.
Recognize me, can we ask the finance director to come to the podium, and if we're going to talk about this tonight, stay there with us?
Yeah, what I'd like to do is I'd like to hear a quick motion to make it a budget amendment and authorize the Director of Finance to facilitate this new hire. Do I hear a motion? Motion by Solomon, second by Carmichael. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Okay, that's done. So, Langdon, if you would, please take care of that. Right? No, we just authorized him to take care of it. I don't know if it's coming out of fund balance or where it's coming out of.
Tell her where she's supposed to report tomorrow, then. The finance, or to the mayor's office or finance?
Mayor, she'll come out, she comes to your...
You know what?
Could she just come and check with Carolyn in the mayor's office in the morning and get the process started?
Okay, that's fine.
That's in the mayor's office.
The mayor's office is up at the clerk's office.
There's more on the agenda, Hall.
Hey, next, the next item up is Board of Equalization, Commissioner David Gall.
Mr. Chair, there's been a recent change in law about some training for the members of the Board of Equalization. This motion is just stating that we would like to request the mayor to bring 4 appointments that the county brings. Jefferson City still provides the 5th appointment. These appointments are still confirmed by this full legislative body. But what the new law states is that the members are required training, and that training has to be, the records have to be maintained. So we're asking the mayor to bring the appointments, and he's going to also maintain those records for us.
I second it.
We've got a motion, we've got a second. Discussion, Commissioner Seals.
Will you keep the ones that's on there now, Mr. Mayor?
Well, I don't remember who's on there.
Well,
You know, it's usually not my policy to put adversarial people on boards that I appoint, so.
well, I'm just,
I think the ones that were on there, there was one that decided he did not want to serve. Is that not correct?
No, I did speak to that one, and it's my understanding that all 4 would consider staying on there and do wish to stay on there. So.
And the chairman's good with that, Mr. Kesters?
Are you good with those 4 if they're willing to do the education?
If that's who you all would like to have, yeah.
That's what we would like if that's okay.
If you want those individuals, yes, as far as I'm concerned, then I would place him before you for nomination and let you vote on him.
Thank you for doing that.
Commissioner Galt.
I'm sorry.
I was just going to ask, are these new appointments or are you just adding that
Reappointments.
adding that line to maintain the records, and they're still serving terms or something? I was wanting clarification. Is their term expired?
The terms expire every even year, so every 2 years their terms do expire, and just the addition of the training and the records is what and maintaining the records is what the.
Mr. Mayor.
The state notified my office that mayor's office would be responsible for their training and keeping the records. County commission is the ones been appointing those individuals. So I informed the state that I wasn't doing anything. If I don't get to appoint them and you confirm them, you all worry about it. I'm not going to worry about it. So apparently Mr. Kesterson's committee and Mr. Galt got together and worked with the attorneys, made a few changes, so now we'll appoint them and y'all will confirm them. We'll do that. We'll work with the state that way.
Okay, motion and second. Is there any other discussion? Yes.
Just quick, I guess it's for the mayor. It says a motion to request the mayor. Earlier I made a motion to request the mayor. And it was out of order. I just want somebody to clarify that for me.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. Next, we have 2 resolutions for rezoning. Commissioner Seals.
They're both approved by the planning commission, no problem.
We've got a motion and second to approve both.
We've got John Neal, the motion, I can't make it.
John Neal made the motion, Ms. Music made the second, to do both of them at the same time. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? With one abstention. Number 6 under new business, we have to set the price for those parcels. I think there were 4 parcels, and now there's 3, one of them sold. So I'm looking for a motion to set for the price of those 3 parcels.
Which one sold?
Commissioner Seals?
I make a motion, we take $100 a piece for each one of them.
There's a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Who made the second? Commissioner Baxter made a second. There's a motion and a second to take $100 a piece for each one of them. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. And with no other business before us, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.